Hey there, my name's Caroline Hogan. I'm a KSHB 41 reporter, one of the many people working on our Union Station special celebrating the 25th anniversary of Union Station's renovation. While we were going through this, we actually looked at a lot of archive footage from that time in Union Station during the tax, when it was in complete disarray, from the first few days that it opened and when Science City opened. And we loved it so much, but we couldn't use all of it. So we put together this video for you guys to look through some more of it. It's very cool, kind of just a blast from the past. Enjoy.
Well, you see it all here. Farmers, priests, nuns, movie stars.
Rich people, poor people, old people, young people, meeting under that 6-foot diameter clock.
Those were the days when, to many, Union Station was Kansas City. Today, on its 81st birthday, it's all but forgotten. But Joe Wally will never get this place out of his blood. He worked right here with the railroad for years, and coming back is like coming home.
USO was here, and of course big facilities here for cigars and candy.
Maurice Rubin remembers too. He sold ice cream and newspapers here, and back then he thought Union Station was the center of it all.
You name it, and I've met them. Clark Gable, Jack Dempsey, Babe Ruth, Mark's brother, Ginger Rogers, etc., etc.
There's been a lot of history in this place over 81 years, and anybody who came to Kansas City passed through these halls. And even though those days are long gone, those who remember it in its heyday say this place still echoes with the memories.
Rock Island, train number 3, the Golden State for California, all aboard.
Now just to see the station empty and deteriorating, something I wished I'd never seen.
Its time will come again. For what purpose and what it will be, I have no idea. But I'm sure that it won't be scrapped.
No, if all goes as planned, by the turn of the century, Union Station will be thriving again, this time as a museum. But for now, this huge hall stands empty, a symbol of time moving on. But folks who knew and loved this place will never forget what it once was, because to them, Union Station will always be positively Kansas City. With photographer John McGrath, Ted Ishler, 41 News.
Once considered a grand train station.
It's the second largest train station in the country.
Now it's deteriorating, but no one wants to see it destroyed.
Right over here is the old ticket counter, and what we envision there is actually a 2-level dining structure.
Those who envision a future for Union Station are members of a bi-state task force appointed by the governors. They've agreed to restore the 95-foot tall plaster ceilings, the 3,000-pound chandeliers, the limestone walls, and the marble floors. Then they want to add to it a hands-on, state-of-the-art science museum.
A contemporary science center is something that we feel is necessary for our families and our children to compete in the world that we're going to face in the next century.
But in order for the dream to become reality, planners need to raise $118 million. They propose an 1/8 of a cent sales tax increase. Might not sound like much, but voters in both states more than likely will be asked if they're willing to pay it.
I think it's great having a science museum. I mean, for educational purposes, I don't think it's that large of a raise for something that's going to benefit kids.
We get taxed for everything. I mean, but I think they probably can find some other kind of fundraiser or some other kind of, some kind of other kind of activity besides taxing it.
And if everybody get behind it, I think it could be a nice addition to this area.
If the tax is approved, task force members hope to have much of the work done by the turn of the century. Their goal is to use the train station's grand clock to ring in the 21st century, basically using an idea from the past to signal a new era. In order for the sales tax hike to pass and the renovation project to move forward, voters in only 2 counties, Jackson and Johnson, need to approve it this November. With photographer Nick Castellan, Keith King, 41 News.
October 31st, 1914. That's when Union Station opened its doors for business. However, at the opening, it didn't work.
The giant clock was running a little late.
They did get it working, and it kept time for the trains that moved in and out of here for more than half a century.
For 72 solid years, it was the timepiece for Kansas City.
The clock at Union Station is legendary. People would meet under the clock when they arrived at Union Station. We've heard stories of men proposing to their wives under the clock at Union Station.
And so those who are fighting to see Union Station renovated started at the top.
Clock has got a lot of potential. It's just got some problems that are 80 years old.
For more than 10 years, the hands on the clock have stood frozen, but time has not stood still.
Mother Nature continues to deteriorate the building, but workers feel with a little grease and a lot of love, they can have the clock telling time again.
Go down, straighten the shaft, grease it up, see what we get.
It's all with the hopes of ringing in the next millennium in a renovated Union Station.
New Year's Eve under the clock was a great tradition here, and our goal with the restoration of Union Station is to have New Year's Eve under the clock for the year 2000.
With photographer Matt Reeb, Jason Oldham, 41 News.
It's been sitting empty and decaying for a decade, but now Election Day brings new life to Union Station. Supporters on both sides of the state line mounted $1 million campaign, and it paid off big.
I think the people in Kansas are no different than the people in Missouri. They care about their children, they care about their schools, they care about education, they care about the city growing and prospering, and all this comes down to Science City Union Station.
The project to renovate Union Station and turn it into a science center will be paid by people in both states. Opponents tried to mount an attack, but they couldn't go up against the powerful bi-state backers.
I just hope that it's done right and that the bi-state board does what it's supposed to do.
The move to renovate this historic building makes history as well. This is the first known tax of its kind to cross a state line. Keith King, 41 News.
Walk into Union Station and you hear what sounds like distant thunder. A sign of Union Station's restoration and a symbol of the stormy beginning of the bi-state tax battle brewing.
The next phase of major work, and you'll see some of it below, is going to be the removal of contaminants, all the asbestos piping and so forth.
As crews remove asbestos in the basement, sparks fly over who controls $234 million in bi-state tax money, politicians or the private sector. Like peeling plaster on the walls of the station itself, some worry layers of the cooperative effort to rebuild Union Station are peeling away as well.
We are responsible and we are accountable to the taxpayers, and we just really want to be partners, and I believe that the meetings should be open, and I support that.
You know, how many museums have a lobby that looks like this?
Bi-state commissioners went on a walkthrough Tuesday, learning where the planetarium, the restaurants, and the theater would be built.
We're actually creating a city that will begin over here at this level and then step down to the track level.
While also learning what it takes to keep the peace so the project can go forward.
It's a huge business, it's a huge undertaking. There's always going to be bumps in the road, and I just look at this as a bump in the road.
I think it's clear they're both extremely well-intentioned. Both groups want to do what's best for the project.
Whatever their intentions, some say both sides better start compromising, and soon, before the bottom falls out on the agreement altogether.
The ribbon is cut and hundreds pour into the newly renovated Union Station.
Welcome to Union Station.
The station reopened in grand style, the way it did when it first opened 84 years ago.
Oh, say does that star-spangled...
The national anthem got people into the spirit.
This building is coming alive once again, and we're opening up a new city called Science City.
And that was music to the ears of city leaders and dignitaries who praised taxpayers in Missouri and Kansas, who funded half of the 2-year renovation that helped to restore the building to its old grandeur.
After all the years of trying to figure out what we could do to restore Union Station,
This landmark building is once again a jewel in Kansas City's many treasures.
Union Station cost $250,000 to restore. It's nearly 1 million square feet, making it the second largest Union Station in the country. Walk into the Grand Hall and you won't find a train depot, but theaters, restaurants, and down the road, Amtrak will be back online.
No city on earth has a finer station than Kansas City. Yes.